Hi guys, how you doing? My name is Dylan Huff. Today's date is April 27th, 2024. Course FTT 100. In today's video, I'll be manipulating my firearm, showing you its action and how to disassemble, reassemble it, and its major parts, that are involved in this process. Always when working with a firearm, make sure you got some safety glasses and some gloves. You're messing with a firearm here, either solutions, fouling, things like that. And in my case, my firearm has a lot of spring tension parts. Don't want nothing flying up, hit me in the face, damaging my eyesight. It's very important. And secondly, make sure there's no ammo or any bullets in your firearm and it's fully loaded and cleared. So let's get started. This is my 1911 45 ACP Kimber. It is a rapid fire edition. It is a semi-auto, recoil operated, repeating pistol, and it has different cocking steps, different cocking serrations, meaning like what you just seen when I pulled the slide back, it pulled the hammer to fully cock position. Now there's another position where you push in the safety grip and the trigger at the same time while you hold the hammer, slowly glide it up, let your finger off, and it puts it into a safety position. In this position, even with this pressed in, you can't fire the gun. So that's a pretty cool step. Another one is then you pull it straight back, you're ready to fire. Or if you want to load your firearm, it's loaded, you can't fire it because the pen isn't engaged, you can pull it back, boom, or fully cocked. Now let's talk about disassembling. Now there's a cylinder cap here that holds the spring, and it is under a lot of tension. And also around the barrel, there is a cylinder that has locking lugs on it. That cylinder will hold in the cap and it'll hold in the barrel in place so it ain't just moving around. Now, Kimber gives you a little tool. It's pretty nice because it can be hard to manipulate this process with just your fingers by pushing in that tension and rotating that barrel locking extension. And you want to make sure you hold it because it is under a lot of tension. You don't want it to go crazy flying out. This is the cap, which is a little groove on there. And this is your spring. One side has a pigtail on it. The other side is flat. That flat side is what goes in the firearm first. And you can rotate that the locking cylinder for the barrel. And I'll show you the locking lug on it just here in a second. Right there is that locking. That make sure that pulls out. And at this point, now you can push the slide back and not into the slide lock groove, but there is a half a moon on the slide itself. That has to be perfectly aligned with your slide lock. When that is aligned, you can push the button in the back and pull out your slide lock. It has a groove that goes all the way through that goes to a linkage that holds the barrel in place. You see, it's just free floating. Now I like putting my firearm upside down when pulling it off the slide because the parts are just sitting there. I don't want nothing to drop off or, get damaged. So here's your spring guide rod. Ooh. Spring guide rod here that will lay up on the barrel. It's got a little half a moon, and then there's the linkage I was talking about. And when this is all apart, you push that linkage down and then the barrel will just slide right out. On my firearm, I use a little tool to pull out the firing pin because it is under spring tension with this little block here that holds it in place. And it's just like a little sleeve. So what I do is I push in the firing pin. At the same time, I push up the sleeve. Remember, it's under spring tension, so I like putting my fingers here while I pull up the piece so the firing pin, won't go shooting out. Firing pin is, like I said, under tension. One side of the spring is nice and big. It'll go down and lay on the grooves on that firing pin. One side's narrow. That's the side that goes in the firearm first. Now that this little block here is out of the slide and out of the grooves, you can now remove the extractor. The extractor also has this little groove, which, like I said, it'll fall in with that little block for moving in and out. And you see, nothing in there, so we're good. Everything's good on that and on the ejector. So I'll slide it back. Make sure the grooves line up very good because this process, when you push the firing pin back in with that with that little block that has the grooves on it. You got to make sure it falls in place. And it has a flat side and it has a beveled side. The beveled side goes up and the flat side goes against the slide. I like putting it kind of in place, ready to go, as I push in the firing pin. And then I will let it go right into its spot, push it down, it'll snap, you're good to go. Then your barrel goes back in the firearm, in the slide, sorry, and you get your guide rod, which is a 1/2 moon, rest that on the barrel all the way up to the front and make sure that the grooved part is down on the barrel. Now, bottom part of your firearm, slide it onto the slide and push it forward. Make sure your 1/2 moon is in place with the square where your slide lock goes. And like I said, this is a very important process because there is that linkage on the barrel itself. You always want to make sure your slide lock will go in through them both, because you don't want it won't function right if it isn't, and your barrel won't move, so you know it's good. This part is pretty hard. There's a lot of pressure in this part, so don't be afraid. Always push it pretty hard and it'll snap in place. Now slide will come forward, and I like sliding it all the way forward because it relieves a lot more tension on that spring when putting it back. There's your cylinder lock here for your barrel. Push that all the way to the right. Remember, flat side down. And then cylinder cap goes on. In this process, you want to push it down and then rotate that barrel so it locks on that cylinder cap. Once you hear it pop, you're good to go. And you can manipulate your firearm. Thank you.